Jonathan Schanzer is the Vice President of Research for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. He joins us now via Skype in Washington. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure.
This conflict is escalating rapidly. What triggered such heavy military action, do you think?
Well, I think it came down to one thing. The Israelis became aware of the fact that Hamas was smuggling in very long-range rockets, Iranian-made rockets known as Fajr 5. These rockets are, in the words of one Israeli official that I spoke with, game changers. What they do is they shift the balance of power. It allows Hamas, as we've seen, to be able to strike deep into the heart of Israel, to be able to strike, for example, Tel Aviv, to be able to threaten Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, or to be able to threaten even Dimona, which is the site of the alleged nuclear program that Israel maintains. And so once the Israelis learned that these rockets were in Hamas's possession, all it took was one even short-range rocket fired by Hamas to set off an Israeli reprisal. And once they started, they made it very clear that the goal was to root out all of these long-range rockets, and that appears to be what they're doing right now.
There has been a long-standing conflict between the two countries. What makes this conflict so different?
Well, it doesn't make it that much different. I mean, Hamas has been engaging in conflict with the Israelis since its founding in 1987. In fact, it was founded. Its primary goal was to attack Israel. It's even mentioned in its charter that its goal is the destruction of the state of Israel. But what's happened is over time the tactics have changed. And so what began as sort of crude bombings in the first Intifada of 1987 evolved into suicide bombings, which we saw during the 1990s. And then in the early part of the last decade, we saw sort of short-range rockets. Now it appears that Hamas has shifted into long-range rockets with the occasional kidnapping. And so the pressure has been rising between these two actors for quite some time. And it's been 3 years since the last conflict. They've been both preparing for this eventuality.
Do you think the military action will escalate?
Well, initially when all this started, my assumption was that it was just going to end as soon as the Israelis got a hold of those Fajr 5 missiles, those Iranian-made missiles. And then we began to see the response from Hamas with firing deeper and deeper into Israel, which of course was what prompted the Israelis to get authorization to bring up 75,000 troops, of which 16,000 have already been called up. And so the assumption was that perhaps the Israelis would go in on the ground. Now we are hearing rumors, and I have to stress that they're just rumors, that Hamas is talking with Egypt about a ceasefire. We can only hope that that's the case, because that would probably mean a de-escalation of the conflict rather rapidly. Egypt, of course, is eager to play a role here since they were largely sidelined during this conflict thus far. What
do you expect the international community will do?
Well, it's interesting. So far, you have condemnation from across the Muslim world, specifically Turkey and Iran and Egypt and many other countries, saying that Hamas has a right to defend itself. But there has been some sort of very strange and eerie silence coming from the West. The Europeans have not really weighed in on this, and the United States appears to have given Israel a green light. And that's obviously interesting given the tension that we've been hearing about between President Obama and Prime Minister Netanyahu over recent months. One might have expected President Obama to come down rather hard on Netanyahu. There is a theory here that Israel was asked to stand down by the Obama campaign in 2009 when President Obama was inaugurated here in Washington, and that Israel had to cut its operation short then because it was stealing thunder from that inauguration. It makes some people wonder here in town whether this is sort of a make-good, and that Obama is finally allowing Israel to finally take out some of those long-range rockets that it was probably gunning for 3 years ago.
Jonathan Schanzer, VP of Research for the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.